Hello, hello, and welcome back to Eyes of Faith with Michael Roy. Hey, thanks for tuning in to the channel. God bless you. I appreciate those of you who've come alongside me to help expand this channel. I'm working feverishly to bring you content that's relevant to the time in which we live. I'm hoping that everything I bring you, especially during this political season, will help you make the right decision for our nation. Hey, I'm going to get right down to it. I'm going to cut to the quick. If you've already subscribed to Eyes of Faith with Michael Roy, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you have not, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button right now, right now, right now. Help me, help me, help me to grow this channel, because we're bringing you content that's relevant, that's going to help you in your daily life. Well, let's get down to it. Well, of course, we've got 2 weeks before it's time to elect our next president. And any information that I can bring you that's going to help you make a decision, that's going to help you way left or way right, then I want to do that. Now, let me digress and say, for the last, almost 9 years since Donald Trump came down that golden escalator and came down and announced he was going to be the president, he's been under a microscope. I mean, all of his past girlfriends, his past ex-wives, all his work buddies, everything's been under a microscope. Even Hollywood talked about, of course, him grabbing some woman's crotch and women coming out of woodwork saying that he fondled them, and people claiming he raped them, and on and on and on. Every aspect of Donald Trump's personal life has been under a microscope. Even his wives, his ex-wives, his present wife, everything they do is under a microscope. And so Donald Trump has been steadfast, soldier. He's been taking everything with a grain of salt. So now, move forward. Kamala Harris is running for president, and her husband, Doug Emhoff, is in the news. They say turnabout is fair play. Doug Emhoff is in the news. Now, a few months ago, it was reported that Doug Emhoff, prior to meeting Kamala, had a high-powered attorney friend he was dating back in 2012. And apparently the story came out that, because of course they're in Europe, they were abroad in Europe at the Cannes Film Festival in 2012. And apparently there was some altercation where it's reported that he pimp slapped his ex-girlfriend. Now, he's denied that, but that's the story. That Doug Emhoff pimp slapped his ex-girlfriend so hard that he spun around in a circle. Now, that's being corroborated. It's being corroborated right now by this particular woman who is unnamed. But before I go there, because I'm going to go to the video, let you hear some Fox video that substantiates what we're talking about. But first of all, let me just cover a couple of things real quick. This man, Doug Emhoff, who Kamala's married to, I mean, think about, you talking about character. They always talk about Donald Trump's character. You want to talk about character? Let's talk about the man that Kamala chose to be her husband. Now, it's reported and been verified that Doug Emhoff was married before. He cheated on his ex-wife with the nanny, his child's babysitter. He not only committed adultery with the babysitter, he impregnated the babysitter. This man is of such low character. He not only had an adulterous affair with the babysitter, but he impregnated her. So first, he's an adulterer. And then, of course, now, the story's coming out now, he pimp slaps his girlfriend, so now he's a batterer. He beats on women. Then he lies about it. So let me tell you the kind of choices Kamala makes. She chose a guy who's an adulterer, a batterer, and a liar. You talk about character. Is this the person you choose to be your president? She's supposed to be such a great judge of character. You're supposed to respect her input on who Trump is, and she chose an adulterer. She knew he had an affair on his wife with the nanny. She knew he impregnated the nanny, and she married him anyway. And I'm sure she probably knew that he pimped, but she married him anyway. He's lying right now, but she's okay with it. So that gives you a little backstory on it. What I'm going to do is go ahead and go to the video, let you hear a little bit from one of the reasons. Let me back up. One of the reasons this story's been out there for a little bit, but one of the reasons I'm sharing it because I want more people, my viewers and other people on social media feeds that I share with, to see this story, to think about who it is they're contemplating voting for. They've kind of elevated Doug Emhoff as this, and he's like the epitome of a man who supports women, and he's all for women's rights. He's coming alongside women to support them. He's supporting his wife. He supports all women. That any other men who have a problem with Kamala or any other high-powered women, excuse me, that is toxic masculinity that's driving those men. They're misogynistic, and they need to get in line, and they need to support women because women are powerful, women are wise, and women are needed. And so men need to stop being such wusses and come alongside and support our women. So you'll see the video. The point is, the reason I'm sharing this video is because it's a fraud. This guy, Doug Emhoff, is a fraud, and I want you to see tonight that he is a fraud. Let's go ahead and start with this video. Let's see. Let me go here and get out of exit solo and go here and go ahead and listen for a moment.
Gentlemen, changed your own view of perceived gender roles or what it means to be a man.
There's too much
what it means to be a man.
It's masculine toxicity out there, and we've kind of confused.
Excuse me, listen. Now, Doug Emhoff is telling you and I how to be men, what it takes to be a man. Listen to Doug Emhoff.
What it means to be a man.
An interesting part of how people have talked about your role here is how your role has reshaped the perception of masculinity. Do you think that's part of the role you might play as first gentleman?
To me, it's the right thing to do. You know, support women. Women should not have less rights and be treated differently.
And if you become first gentleman, what would that say about, defining the gender role and about masculinity?
A man supporting a woman and lifting up a woman, it's the right thing to do. We lift up women, we lift up all of society.
Newly published allegations about...
Now, let me stop right there. First of all, I'm looking at his face. I'm looking at his body language. He's totally untrue to what he's saying. He looks totally uncomfortable saying these things when he knows the type of person he is. Anyway, they're putting him out there as he's the perfect guy. He's the perfect man. Every man in America should model themselves after Doug Emhoff. He's soft. He's kind. He's considerate. He has his knees. He has his feet folded. He has his hands down in his lap like a flaming homosexual. And he's just so tamed. And men just stop with all this toxicity. And women, oh my God, these folk are crazy. Man, stick your chest out and be a man. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to the story. Listen. Now the bombshell is coming. Listen.
Doug's past now threatened to tarnish his feminist brand. Around a month ago, the Daily Mail revealed that Emhoff got the nanny pregnant when he was married to his first wife, paying the nanny $80,000 and having her sign an NDA.
Yeah, sleep.
Now the same reporter who broke the nanny story is out with an even more explosive piece. In 2012, Doug allegedly slapped his girlfriend in the face. This is according to 3 anonymous sources.
What? Not Dougie.
Slapped his girlfriend in the face.
What, Dougie? You mean sweet Dougie? You mean Dougie who loves women, who's considerate, who's sensitive? He slapped her? Wow. Well, you know what? let's see.
Олег,
Let's see if we can get
Олег.
Let's see this slap. Let's see. Doug, is this the woman that Doug slapped? Watch this. Now, ladies, be careful. Watch out for them Doug Emhoff.
Олег. Олег.
Wow.
Я же говорил, Олег, блядь.
Wow. Man.
This is according to 3 anonymous sources.
Doug slapped his ex-girlfriend now. Now, that wasn't the actual girlfriend, and that wasn't Doug. But in my imagination, Doug is a pretty big guy. I think it kind of rung true like that. So women, watch out for guys like Doug who pretend that they all down with you.
The sources, who claim to be friends of the victim, say Doug smacked his girlfriend in the face at the Cannes Film Festival in France while waiting in line for the valet.
Wait a minute. One more time, ladies, so you can see it. One more time, ladies. Look. Watch this, ladies.
Олег.
Watch out.
Я же говорил, Олег.
See?
The male has identified the woman.
See? Ladies, watch out for creeps like
But isn't using her name, and she'll be called Jane for the purpose of this report. Jane's friends claim Doug thought Jane was flirting with the valet. Quote, she put her hand on the valet's shoulder, and as she was talking to him, Doug comes up. She said he turned her around by her right shoulder, and she was completely caught off guard. He hauled up and slapped her so hard.
he did what? He turned around and she turned around and
Олег. Я же говорил, Олег, блядь.
She spun around. She said she was in utter shock.
wow.
These sources provided the Daily Mail with evidence that the trip to the south of France did happen,
Man.
including an itinerary and emails. Jesse Waters Primetimes discovered red carpet footage that shows Doug at the 2012 film festival.
Gotcha,
You
Doug.
can see him right there in the background. Jane is a corporate attorney on the East Coast, and the sources who spoke to the Daily Mail demanded to remain anonymous because they feared retaliation.
She's a lawyer
One
like
of the sources, according to the Daily Mail, is a top businessman, the other a New York attorney, and the third a top company executive. Fox has been reaching out for comment from Doug's team multiple times a day over several days and haven't received a statement back. Many.
You mean sweet, honest Doug doesn't want to talk about it? You mean sensitive, caring, women affirming Doug doesn't want to discuss these fraudulent allegations? Doesn't Doug want to clear his name? Doesn't Doug want to show women that he's really their champion, that he's on their side? Come on, Dougie Doug. Kamala got to be having a fit about this.
Outlets are requesting comment from the second gentleman. The only publication Doug's team responded to was just a small outlet, and it came from an unnamed spokesperson. Quote, the report is untrue. Any suggestion that he would or has ever hit a woman is false.
Okay, now, his publicist, his representative, now, of course, is supposed to be speaking on his behalf. So what I want to do is go to here is the story. The woman came forward. They're not releasing her name, but she has come forward to verify that this happened. So what I'm going to share with you is directly from the New York Post and the Daily Mail. So I'm going to read briefly. Don't turn me off. I'm just going to read briefly her words. He says it didn't happen. This is the woman who was Doug Emhoff's ex-girlfriend. These are her words. So let's read as follows. It says a former girlfriend of second gentleman Doug Emhoff said she was left embarrassed and humiliated when he slapped her following a gala dinner at the 2012 Cannes Film Festival in the south of France, adding that the husband of Vice President Kamala Harris has maintained a completely fabricated persona as a public figure. He's a fraud. The woman, a New York attorney identified only as Jane Doe, told the Daily Mail in an interview published Thursday she was trying to hand a valet when this is how the incident happened. She said this is how it happened. She said she was trying to hand a valet $100 to go get their car, and Doug didn't know what was going on, so he got out of line, to see what was going on. And she says, as I'm talking to the valet, Doug got out of line, comes up, turns me around by my right shoulder. She says, I'm completely caught off guard and I'm not bracing. She said, by the way, I'm in 4-inch high heel shoes. Listen, ladies, you're in 4-inch high heel shoes and wearing a full length gown. And it's between 2 and 3 in the morning. She told the news. She said, he slapped me so hard, I spun around and I'm in utter shock. She said there had been no fight, no argument. She had it. In that moment, his mask had dropped and I saw his dark side. It goes on to say she told 3 friends about it a month later. Then she told a few others about it 6 years later. And they said this was frightening. She said what's frightening for this woman is that it's been on the, she said what's frightening for a woman that's been on the other end of it is watching this completely fabricated persona of Doug Emhoff, put it in people's face as if he's this perfect guy. He's so sensitive, he's so caring. And when she knows he's the antithesis of who he's actually presenting himself to be. So, I mean, you can't hide Doug. I mean, eventually I'm sure we'll learn the woman's name. But Doug, she's out. It's not just hearsay. The woman has come forward to the media without giving her name, but she's given a story. Doug Emhoff, you did this and you know it. Let's continue.
Jesse Waters Primetime isn't convicting Doug Emhoff until proven guilty and deserves due process. But this is a serious allegation, and we certainly hope it's not true. Daily Mail senior reporter Josh Boswell joins us now. Did you have any hesitation about publishing this story because it's on the eve of an election, it's anonymous sources?
So the process that I went through was extremely thorough and careful about this, because you're right, we're on the eve of an election. But the thing that made these sources come forward, not because there's an election, but because the Kamala Harris campaign was using Doug Emhoff, showing him as this feminist ally, bigging up his credentials as an ally to women. And that just enraged them. And I quoted one of them in.
Now, that's a great point. This ex-girlfriend, she was okay with staying in the shadows. And because Kamala is running for president and because of how they were trying to portray Doug Emhoff as this perfect gentleman, this perfect man, this model of the new man that they want every man in America to pattern themselves after, they basically, I would say, it's a fraud. So I could see them saying to their girlfriend, you got to come forward. This guy's a fraud. And they want to teach all of the men of America and all these young men that Doug is the epitome of a gentleman. And that is what encouraged the lady's friends and later the lady to come forward with this story. So I just want to add that.
The piece saying this, that she thought that it was disgusting that they were portraying him this way, when in fact these friends knew what had really happened.
Wow. As a minister, as a Christian, I see people masking themselves the time. They pretend. The Bible says, watch out for wolves in sheep's clothing. Guys like Doug, they're all around. A lot of you women, unfortunately, you meet these guys, in church. You meet them in bars. You meet them through friends, and they're the perfect guy. So when something happens, your friends say, no way, Doug wouldn't do that. And Doug is an absolute beast. He's a monster. He's a batterer. He's a rapist. He's a philanderer. He's a whoremonger. He's an adulterer. Ladies, watch out for these guys. Watch out. So I really want to make sure that people who plan on voting for Kamala, I want you to understand, is she a good judge of character? I want you to think about that, because she chose this guy who is, kind of a unsavory kind of guy. Anybody who would sleep with the babysitter, impregnate the babysitter, and lie about it, try to hide it, and then beat up women. I'm sure he probably beat up the ex-wife. The ex-wife probably not talking about it. But anyway, I want to put this at the end and say, women, and I'm just going to share it one more time. There are a lot of guys like Doug out there, and sometimes if you're paying attention, you can see the red flags. But I have 2 daughters of my own. I'm married. I've been married to my wife 27 years. And there's no excuse for men hitting women. But what I want to say to you young women, no matter how hard, no matter how upset you get, no matter how frustrated he makes you, keep your hands to yourself, because not all men are gentlemen. And some men will snap. And I'm going to be honest, they will hurt you. They will hurt you. Don't let the feminists and the leftists trick you. You're not a man. If you ever plan on hitting a man, whether it's your boyfriend or your husband, you better have your gun with you, because ain't no telling how hard he might hit you if he does plan on hitting you. So err on the side of safety. You might fuss, you might cuss, but keep your hands to yourself and keep your finger out his face. Because if not, this is what could happen to you.
Олег, блядь. Я же говорил, Олег, блядь.
Hey, that's all I got. This is Eyes of Faith with Michael Roy. I hope this has been helpful. I hope it'll change some votes. I hope people who are going to vote for Kamala will change their mind. I mean, I just really hope that this information is insightful and helpful. Hey, until next time, God bless you and God keep you. In Jesus' name, amen.